Hi, this is UFO.
Thank you for tuning in today.
This is Astronaut.
Dark Matter here.
This is our podcast number 2 segment on
Operation High Jump.
Antarctica.
Yes.
And we have our first guest, Ben, calling in from Pennsylvania. Ben, say hi to everyone.
What's up, guys? Glad to be a part of the show tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, all right, so Ben, Operation High Jump.
Sure.
Did you want to start with Operation High Jump? Or did you want to talk about the app first? You know what, let's talk about the app first. Let's talk about the app first. So, iPhone or Android? What
are you running on, Ben? Is it iPhone or Android?
I have an iPhone.
Oh, great.
Did you download the latest update?
Would it be bad if I was not?
Yeah, you're missing out on all the cool features that we have going on.
We just uploaded some new ones.
Yeah. Do you have the update with the reports on it that are non-sighting? Like with Nikola Tesla on it, the pyramids.
When you go on the map, right? Do you see Nikola Tesla's face on there, or observatories, or NASA logos?
I do.
So you have the update.
Right here in New York. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, so you have the update. So you're good. You're running on the latest software, which is great. Well, what could we do to make it better, or what could we do to make it worse? You tell us.
Well, what I love about it, man, you know me for a long time, so you know that I'm a big UFO guy, just like you. And I love the detail of like all the individual reports. You know, you go to the first thing, and it's got you the time. It's got the, even not just the location, but the exact like latitude, longitude. The encounter type. You got everything listed right here, and I can look at a whole blurb. What the sighting was all about, images, and even YouTube videos. So, I think it's really, really great. Just the amount of detail and like the different types of details and media that you have on here.
Yeah, we really wanted to outline like each, exemplify all the things that go into looking at ufology, and I think that was one of the things that our users really enjoy looking at. And when they click on something, it's got like, the history about it. But I'm glad that you touched on that, because we're Dark Matter and I are really putting a lot of emphasis on just basically looking at the map, and it's like a history just by itself, looking on the map,
But visual history. Visual at the end of the day,
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I
think making it better is maybe along the same lines with the Tesla faces here. Keep adding in, people of note. And I guess wherever they lived and died, and their contributions to the UFO world. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Pretty soon on the coming updates, users will be able to add their own reports. So if you have something that we didn't have, like another observatory or a pyramid that we may have not put on the map as of yet, you could put it on yourself at some point. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be really huge for us. Yeah.
So what we can do better is, as you're basically saying, add more content.
More content. There's always more content.
Yeah,
always more.
It's a fairly new app, so you'll get there. But yeah, man, I like everything about it.
Oh. Nice.
That's the only thing I would say is, just keep adding to it.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
That's a great critique. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, want to dive into Operation High Jump. I've heard this is Ben's favorite topic of the anomalies.
Well, he'll let us...
Does it get better than World War II and Nazi conspiracy?
Right? Yeah, it doesn't get much better than the deciphering all the meanings. And I heard Hitler was really into like occult stuff, like that. All that Indiana Jones stuff was like actually real. They had a secret SS division that was very secretive, that went around the world and just looked for occult symbolism and stuff like that to see if it was real and what power it could use.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's not even a conspiracy theory. That's stuff that you can easily look up. That's definitely the real deal.
Right? That's the real deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the thing that I love about Operation High Jump, is just like how completely crazy it would be if it was true. And like the basic theory is that like during World War II, the Nazis sailed to Antarctica, and basically annexed, a portion of Antarctica and named it like New Schwabeland. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly.
Okay.
But basically annexed a piece of land there and built some sort of an underground base where they were, supposedly working together a little bit with some aliens, possibly the Aryans, the tall whites, and developing technologies and weapons. And then apparently during this Operation High Jump mission there, which was, the cover story there was basically, as anything else, just an expeditionary, force looking for resources or whatever. And it was known as Task Force 68, had about 4,700 men in it and 13 ships, including an aircraft carrier. And it was like the biggest one of its day. It was called the Philippine Sea. Why you need an aircraft carrier to go look for resources, I don't know. Maybe it's the biggest ship, so it could carry the most men. But again, I don't know why you need almost 5,000 guys to do just kind of like a reconnaissance mission.
That's what it's supposed to be, right?
If nothing is over there, if it's the coldest place on Earth, right?
Supposedly. That's wow.
Yeah, they're out there looking for like coal and stuff, but they need like 5,000 men to dig for, whatever.
An aircraft carrier.
Yeah, and then supposedly, they were attacked by something that Admiral Byrd was actually quoted as saying could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. So it was basically like this new enemy that they had no idea what it was, and it sank ships and blew planes out of the sky. And they supposedly had pretty significant casualties. And this was actually, Admiral Byrd actually said this in the Chilean press. So I guess after they hightailed it out there, the Chilean port was maybe the closest thing to them or whatever. And he was talking about that, and you can look that up as well. And of course, those reports were never published or acknowledged by anybody in the U.S. over here. But apparently, we got our butts kicked there by something. Nobody's really sure what it was.
Wow, that's great info. That I didn't even know some of that stuff. I knew that. Backing that up, Byrd and his armada got attacked by something, and it was something like the Foo Fighters, right? They didn't know what it was, if it was German-owned, alien, but they basically, I don't know if this is an actual official document writing, but they had to retreat, white flag it out of there because they were taking too many casualties or too many ships were getting hit, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, what you could think, like, what could possibly be done there?
Landed or not, but say it again?
Say that again? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said I'm not sure if they actually ever, landed anybody on Antarctica or they got attacked before the ships landed or anything like that. But.
Oh, so technically they weren't really venturing deep into the continent?
No, I mean, they were looking for, if you believe the conspiracies, the supposed joint, German alien base that had been operating during World War II, and then they supposed that, some German U-boats escaped, the whole theory with Hitler escaping to Argentina and the U-boat and everything, and they think, the same thing may have happened with some high-ranking people and some troops and whatnot escaping in the U-boats to Antarctica, to this base, and which is very possible because by the end of World War II, there was actually U-boats that could stay submerged for about 30,000 miles worth of sea, so they could definitely get anywhere they needed to go undetected.
Yeah. You are right about that.
They actually thought that Hitler went to Antarctica after World War II,
right? It was either
they
South
went to Antarctica
America
first and then possibly
migrated
everybody
into the biggest theory is Argentina.
South America is the
really
closest
cool show,
thing.
Hunting Hitler, on the History Channel that goes into that stuff. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, and to go about the whole about Operation High Jump and then going into the continent and exploring more is, from my understanding, Admiral Byrd was saying how there were high walls of they were just like 15,000 feet high walls. So I can only assume during Operation High Jump that these guys never made it to a type of land, or they just got attacked in the middle of the water, and I think that's what hurt them the most, because you're pretty much a sitting duck.
I mean, if you have something you really want to hide, and if this alien technology, you could certainly shut down any conventional warship coming your way if you have some like crazy otherworldly stuff long before it gets anywhere near what they're looking for.
They probably knew they were coming miles away. They probably knew where they were.
Imagine so.
Yeah,
And
radar.
but Admiral,
Absolutely.
I would definitely want to touch more on Admiral Byrd. He states that the Earth is hollow, and that there's a actual hole opening in Antarctica to the hollow Earth, and that past the bunker, I guess, I don't know, the barrier of ice that's in Antarctica, there's more land than they say that is on the map. So
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
he's
I don't
also
know a whole lot about Admiral Byrd and his theories on that. But isn't that like a theory of like flat Earth people too? Like in Antarctica or both poles, maybe there's just like big walls of ice.
Yeah,
and
well,
they can't get to it.
Yeah, well, the thing about flat Earth is like some people that believe in flat Earth, it's like a dome, and then space doesn't exist. But I believe space exists. You know what I'm saying? But it is quite possible that we're in a ring and Earth is bigger than what we think it is. So that is definitely possible, and that these extraterrestrial beings could be there. They say the Anunnaki have a base there, and it's just the list that goes on with this this whole Antarctica thing. And then I was reading 7 videographers from California went to Antarctica to
Really?
take video and all that stuff. They never came back.
There's a treaty that it was signed. I can't remember. Back in like 1956 treaty, that it was a coalition of there's to be no nuclear explosions. Like you said, the Nazis, nobody can annex land there. It's only to be used for scientific and research. But yeah, supposedly you're right. Like nobody is allowed to go there.
Well, there's
right?
there are people that are quote unquote researing it, like the fronted programs. You know what I'm saying? Researching it. Apparently in 1995, well, apparently there's a no-fly zone near the. Apparently you'll get shot down. That's what a pilot actually flew through the no-fly zone during an emergency in 1995, and he confirmed that there was a huge hole in the middle of Antarctica, and it looked like it just went deep into Earth. And no one, of course, believed him. People, the government shut him down. And so that was his findings on it. He says you did fly through it. And crazy, he didn't. I guess they had no choice. They couldn't shoot him down,
Yeah.
Then it would make it more obvious.
Yeah, they're running a route to, I think, to go...
Rescue mission.
It was a rescue mission. And they weren't allowed to go over that hole,
No,
right?
they said it was the fastest way to get there. It was like an avalanche or something. I don't know what exactly happened, but... They had that, and it's very interesting because they say they could be cities deep in the earth.
Yeah.
There's a ton of like aliens that are just living there.
I can imagine. Who knows how deep it goes down there.
It boggles my mind that every world leader has been there, and even like the Queen of England recently has been there.
How creepy is that?
And how old she is? What business does she have down there?
What does she want with Antarctica?
What business
also,
she got down there?
Every important official, as like Putin went there, right? I think Senator John Kerry went there. Like, why is everybody? The Pope went there, I think, or one.
Yeah,
no, it was the Russian Orthodox. He went there. Why is everybody going to Antarctica? I don't understand.
There's a lot of things happening in Antarctica.
A lot of weird stuff.
Why isn't anyone going to the North Pole?
I know. I guess they're drilling for oil, or why aren't they up there more? What is in Antarctica that's so important? They heard that. I think some conspiracies are that that's where the ancient land of Atlantis is.
Yeah.
All right. They rediscovered land or something.
Yeah, that's insane.
But that hole, coming back to that, they said that naval officer who flew over it. He said that there were 12 scientists who got lost down there.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of the things they had to come back for. And
were they ever recovered?
They were recovered, or I don't really know much about it. I heard a quick segment on it, but yeah, they said they were on the hole.
But I believe they tell you that Antarctica is more dangerous than it is to keep you from going there. Like, they say it's the coldest place on Earth. You can't survive. You can't do any of this stuff. And Admiral Byrd is saying, it really wasn't that cold over there.
That's bizarre.
But think about it. You have South America that is not that far from Antarctica. Right. So you're telling me just that little space is that much of a degree in temperature?
Weird.
I
think that
Because think about it. I guess because it goes southern of I guess
sun.
away from the sun.
I guess when the Earth's
Still doesn't
precession
add up,
axis, the way it turns, it doesn't really illuminate by the sun. I've heard the coldest it ever got was negative 180 degrees.
Wow. Well, it gets like
Supposedly.
negative like 40 in Canada.
That's
40 and 60 in Canada. That's crazy. I've never experienced that. I'm gonna get -2. I'm like shivering.
I hope
and
to
I just
never.
want to like end of my night.
Yeah, I'm staying in. Yeah.
But do you have anything else, Ben, to add to this Antarctica skepticism? What's going on?
Not too much, but I was just tooling around, and I found a pretty cool quote from a guy who was apparently a German Navy Grand Admiral. His name was Karl Donitz, and he
Nice.
said, and he's talking about New Schwabenland and Antarctica, and he said the German submarine fleet is proud of having built for the Fuhrer in another part of the world a Shangri-La on land, an impregnable fortress. Speaking about whatever they built down there. So
Wow.
that he might be an interesting guy to look a little bit more into, and then kind of vet that a little bit what he's talking
Interesting
about.
quote.
Hey, at the end of the day, I've heard many authors say the Nazis really won the war. And at the end of the day, you hear that, well, maybe they're really running the show right now.
The show behind the curtain.
scenes of all this stuff. Because they took, what was it, Operation Paperclip, where they wiped all of the Nazi scientists' backgrounds about them being like all these war criminals and such, brought them to the United States, and this is where they got all their crazy technology.
That's how NASA started.
Yeah.
Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have an American space program or an American rocket program. We had a German rocket program. We had a German space program.
German everything at this
German
point, I
everything.
think, that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like Foo
like-
Fighters. How come no one has ever touched on Foo Fighters? Like,
Yeah.
so many people, you know what? That's the thing about, like, the deception is, like, the only thing you relate to Foo Fighters is the band. You know what I'm
Their
saying?
show.
Not the
Yeah.
actual crazy shit that actually went down.
The reality of life, of the real world. They hide that.
The Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix.
Big goals of smoke screen.
Yeah, well, that's the Matrix. It'll put it right in front of your face. How many people are doing research on the Foo Fighters? You Google Foo Fighters, you're coming up with Dave Grohl's face. Second you press enter. You know? Yeah, you're coming up with
Whenever
a
I
story.
tell somebody that, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Exactly,
Crazy.
exactly. It's just
Brainwashed.
Yeah.
funny.
Uh-huh.
Funny. Well,
Just misinformed or not informed.
have you?
Misinformed, yeah.
So while I have you on the phone, have you ever had a UFO experience of your own?
Cannot say I have, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
Don't really
actually
have
had one. I had one
unfortunately.
about 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or a week
yeah?
ago? Yeah, it was a couple.
Weeks.
I was riding a bike. Must have been around like 12:45 a.m. I was riding a bike in somewhere in New York, and I just see this like in the middle of nowhere where it shouldn't have been, like just this triangular shaped or V-shaped thing of lights. It was 4 lights, and it came up from under the trees. It floated for about a second and then took off in about a second out of my sight.
Unreal.
And I saw it with somebody else, so it made me feel less crazy. I was like, oh, okay, this was real. I didn't see this in my head because someone else saw it.
2 witnesses.
Definitely the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I went to search where it happened, and it was literally like anything under the tree, like literally behind the tree was like a cliff down to a highway, which was like 100 feet down.
And he said it was
There's no way.
power lines. There's nothing that could fly under those power lines.
Yeah, and there was power lines there too.
How crazy is it?
And I guess the significance is that there was a like a Con Ed generator or substation there. Who knows what they got going on over there? Maybe they were looking for things or something. I don't know, but definitely was a really crazy experience.
It was life changing. You mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Who knew riding a bike would change your life? And that's my UFO experience.
Yeah, I saw
hope to
some.
have one.
What's that, bud?
Said I hope to have one day.
Yeah. I feel like places where there's not a lot of light pollution, you happen to see them, but it's not true, I guess, because, you know, there's a lot of places where there's high density of populace and people still see them or get abducted or know someone who has an experience. My grandmother actually, she said she saw one with my grandfather down at the beach, and she said it was like a floating craft. I would say, I don't know, like 200 yards off in the distance, and it was green, illuminating the bay. And she said she was so terrified. She and my grandfather saw it, and she couldn't wait to get out of there. And that was back in like '68, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
If you hang out by like nuclear missile sites or silos enough, you'll probably run into them. I know that's kind of like their favorite thing is to fuck around with our missiles and whatnot.
Yeah, they like to sniff around places.
Yeah.
What do they got over here? Yeah. That's part of that disclosure.
Well, they say that's kind of what kind of started the whole UFO phenomenon was when we started setting off nukes. It kind of it may have just like kind of ripple through dimensions or space time or whatever that they could sense, and they were like, what the hell was that?
Well said. Yeah.
And that's when they kind of started coming in mass to check out what we were doing here. Probably not because they're worried about us.
They knew that we could split the atom.
Worried about us destroying what's probably a pretty rare thing.
Yeah.
Universe.
Apparently, we're a prized possession in the universe, the Earth.
Yeah.
But they were shooting on before they were putting nuclear bombs on people. They were shooting it in the atmosphere, and that's what triggered the UFO phenomena.
There was actually
more so than usual, I guess.
A project to nuke the moon. I can't remember the name of it, but that was an actual in writing. They wanted to do that. To test
I think the moon is a base anyway.
Yeah.
I think the moon is like a placed object there. I think then I think the Earth probably would have been like demolished
if it wasn't
there was a nuke heading towards the moon.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably not ours. It's not. I don't think it belongs to us.
The Earth doesn't belong to us.
I don't think so.
We don't belong to us. If you really get to it.
Spaceship, right?
What's that?
I said the moon's a spaceship, right?
Yeah, that's what David Icke was quoting in all the facts.
Some real Star Wars shit there.
Real Death Star shit.
Well, think about it. That could have been a hidden message.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been a hidden message.
It is mostly hollow, and it behaves like no other moon or really any other.
Doesn't even turn. We don't even see all
like planet or star that we know of because it doesn't rotate.
Locked orbit. Yeah, there's only very few moons in our solar system or even out there that have that orbit, and that alone is kind of very rare. And also our moon is in diameter much larger and in ratio compared to other moons and other planets. And ours is so pinpoint and perfect that it's just, I remember it quoting, it shouldn't be there. It's the way it is. It's also, I forget which Apollo mission it was, like they rammed the lunar aircraft into it, and they said it rang like a bell for over hours, which is.
I think maybe like even when the Eagle landed, that may have happened as well.
They said the reason they quoted Houston, the Eagle has landed. That I think it was Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin was actually a Freemason, and if you look at Freemasonry, there's an eagle in the symbol. So that quoting of where they landed in significance to like 33rd degrees was a part of Freemasonry.
Wow.
So that's why they said the eagle has landed. And
that's why you can't trust Tom DeLonge.
You don't trust him?
That's a whole other topic, but
Tom's spreading more.
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Tom, you better not let us down.
I don't know.
More disinformation.
I don't know.
We don't know.
The best. He's the best. He is the best person to give out the disinformation.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
What better person? You know what I'm saying? What better person to be like? All right, well.
That's what Dr. Greer says.
Yeah,
exactly.
He loves Tom and considers him a friend, but he thinks he's getting the runaround by a specific general. I can't remember his name. I think it begins with an M. But yeah, he thinks he's getting just like totally trolled by this guy.
He's getting trolled. He's getting David
Well,
Penrose.
just think about it. Dr. Greer actually stood in front of Congress and told his story. You know, Tom DeLonge still hasn't done that.
Yeah, Tom's been researching it just as long as everybody, but he's late to the.
He's late to the whole thing, but also Tom DeLonge, what he's doing, he's how can I say this? He's trying to make a ton of money off it. How he was saying, we're getting a $200 million budget to do all these movies over the next 5 years. It's like, yo, what do you want? Do you want to get rich or do you want to help humanity out? Yeah. So I think you already are rich from Blink-182, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that should be a reason why he doesn't need the money then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really cared about this topic, you wouldn't be trying to nickel and dime people off it. Yeah. And then you're telling, I got an announcement to make. I got an announcement to make. And he keeps pushing it back. Yeah. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah, what is your announcement?
Like,
what you have an idea, Ben? What the announcement could be?
I have no idea.
We're steadily waiting. We've heard inside that it's a movie deal with J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg to release a series both on television and a movie.
Yeah, and Steven Spielberg is said to have a top secret clearance, and apparently, what are those two movies that he did?
He did
Close Encounters of the. I see. Is it the fourth kind?
Third kind?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah.
It's one of those kinds, but apparently those loosely based off of true events that he got from government officials, as well as damn, why is that name escaping me now? I was talking about it all week.
The movie?
E.T. E.T. is about an extraterrestrial that lived with an agent for 3 years. He was actually a survivor from one of the
Washington?
UFOs that they shot down in Roswell. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Saying E.T. was like a documentary?
Kinda. It was like kind of just to desensitize the public to like just aliens in general. But
that'd be crazy.
No, it's true.
Like, remember, buddy, when we saw that Pepsi ad for the Black Knight satellite?
Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was the weirdest, creepiest, coolest ad I've ever seen, and it all came out.
Me, you, and me, you, and 10 other people even like know what that thing is. They're making like a multi-million-dollar little, short movie about it. Like, so weird.
It's crazy.
It was very well done. It was.
So you got to pay attention to what's out there. It's like Robert Bigelow. He says it's right in front of your face.
Right in your nose.
Yeah, it's right in front of you. You just gotta listen to the signs. But people think you're crazy.
Yeah.
People think I'm crazy, and then they hear the UFO thing, and then they're like, he's really crazy. But
they're force-fed information from the television, which is the -- brainwashing tool.
I wonder if YouTube's becoming a brainwashing tool.
They're becoming censored.
Pretty soon you'll be able to not find anything.
That's scary.
That's why in the UFO app we will have videos already in there, so you won't lose track of them.
For you. Yep.
So on every topic. So.
Every topic. It's like a history lesson. Look at the map. Many updates are coming.
Funny.
But
all right, Ben. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry for keeping you past your bedtime. And totally appreciate you.
And just one last little thing before I sign off here. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I know we do mention Dr. Greer a little bit.
Sure.
His newest documentary is actually on Netflix right now. You can get Unacknowledged on there for free right now. So if anybody is interested in delving a little bit more into what we were talking about with him and free energy and all kinds of different government experience or conspiracies and deep black budget stuff and UFOs, definitely check out his documentary on there right now.
Yeah, you got it. And also, I recommend getting the book. I read the book.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of more information on there. It'll blow your mind. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
All this stuff blows my mind.
Yeah.
The more I learn about it.
Check it out, people.
Excellent little input, because I think we've both seen Unacknowledged, and to anybody who hasn't seen it, it's a real eye opener. It's a lot. It touches on more of what the government does to black shelve and discredit people.
It's more about the technology and the free energy. It's like
free energy.
We shouldn't be working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be still driving cars that rely on oil and gas. We shouldn't be. That's what it's all boiling down to. It's all boiling down to money. And Dr. Greer, he's essentially saying it's BS. Let's just you live. Let's just continue with humanity as humanity should and keep moving forward. This is just keeping us, you know, grounded as a whole. And you know, like, come on, man, I should have the information to, if I wanted to make my own free energy device, I make it. If I wanted to make my own UFO, guess what? I want to make it, and I want to go to another planet if I can, because it's my human right to. You know, it might not be my American right to. And that's the whole thing about Dr. Greer, and that's why I like his stance on everything. You know,
it's free. That's why I call it. That's what Tesla wanted to do. Tesla claimed he could put a pole here on Earth and a pole to the moon and transmit a signal. Even before anything was out, he invented the remote control. He invented wireless technology. Basically, our entire electrical grid system is run on him. Without him, we'd have to put generators every 2 miles.
And wires. That's why we got wires everywhere. Yeah. The reason why Nikola Tesla was never written in the history books because J.P. Morgan invested his whole family's money into copper wiring, found out Tesla was doing all this stuff, went right to the government and said, hey, you want to make money? Let's take Tesla out. And they did just that.
It's messed up.
You know, and
absolutely.
I guess
not to keep plugging Dr. Greer, but he's actually quoted as saying that you know, like Albert Einstein was a minor luminary compared to Nikola Tesla.
Easily,
which is pretty crazy to think about.
Easily,
that's insane.
Well, the reason why is because we're brainwashed to think that Einstein was the greatest guy to ever exist.
Yeah.
In terms of all this, you know, science stuff. You know, he was just one of the many.
One of the many, yeah.
You know?
There was a great quote by somebody who was interviewing Einstein, and they said, how does it feel to be the most remarkable, intelligent scientist alive? And he goes, I don't know, you have to ask Nikola Tesla that.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And I'm not...
There you go.
Einstein is great.
He's great. But that was a great little plug-in, and to anybody out there who hasn't seen Acknowledged, we advise you to take a look at it. I know. Or Sirius. Sirius was the jump off. That was the first one that put them on the map, and it was a real eye opener.
Get that free on YouTube too.
So you're saying Unacknowledged is for free now on their website?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Which is shocking to me. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna go watch it again.
I watched it yesterday again. I was like, holy shit! I can't believe this is on here.
I watched it briefly, and then I forgot a lot of the parts. So I want to go back and watch it. There's a couple things in there. I just remember watching the intro, and I do all the video editing for UFO, and I was just amazed at how bold of a statement the intro was. It was like, here's humanity. This is what you've done with the Earth and civilization for the past, century. And it was hard hitting, and definitely pick up the book. He was saying that the book is just as good as the documentary, or even better. With it has more information content in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely liked. You informed us a lot of Operation High Jump. That some of the stuff that we didn't even know, and you touched on. And sometimes we also come to the same consensus that we don't know what was down there, but definitely something that extraordinary and unexplained. Regardless if it's UFOs, Foo Fighters,
or whether it's Nazis that have been there,
or if the Earth continues and it's flat, or there's hollow, whatnot. But
inside out.
This is why we started UFO, to bring this into the public knowledge and for
disclosure.
People. Disclosure.
That's the main goal. It's bigger than you.
I mean, it's bigger than you. Yeah. Topic. I think just from the level of the force alone that was sent, it was like a full military force.
Mm-hmm.
These guys were, almost 5,000 sailors and soldiers with like full, battle gear and everything. Were sent on this mission, and it's definitely, I think, not exactly what they told us it was.
Yeah, that's definitely not a scientific expedition whatsoever. Yep. I remember reading it was one of the largest armada fleets in the naval history sent down there at that time.
They never sent more back.
We never sent them back.
Because they never came back.
Never came back, yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, buddy. Well, that was excellent. Good info. Thank you for joining us.
Definitely would love to have you again.
Yeah, we're going to have you again.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to come back on and chat with you about some other topics, guys. It was really cool.
Awesome,
Excellent.
bro.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
All right, pal.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a great
You
night.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
So, so Ben, he was a good guest on the show.
Great
I learned
guest,
a lot
yeah.
from him. I hope everyone else did. And
Yeah.
and get ready for the next time. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we're going to talk about something. Thank you for downloading the app. If you haven't already, go to Apple Store and Google Play and download it as soon as you can. We'll be having a ton of more updates in the next couple months. And again, thank you for your time, man. Have a good night.
Thank you guys for joining us. Keep the UFO, map use open. There's updates constantly, and we're hard working over here for you guys. And we're glad you could join us on this Operation High Jump Antarctica podcast. Thanks, and have a great night.